interesting what you brought up about the paralegals, and you too, Sarah, is just because, you know, it seems like paralegals are a little bit underappreciated, not in-house, but out by the general public.
Law firm.
By the general public. Yeah. I didn't even know what a paralegal did prior to working in a law firm. I mean, you only think of the lawyer. You don't think of admin or paralegals or anything like that. So it's interesting that they actually do contribute so much to the process.
They are the process.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, we're kind of leading and guiding because the ethics and the big part of it, like the big picture of it, is on us. Mm-hmm. And they do the kind of the tedious work. You know, we had a big meeting yesterday and a big firm dinner, and y'all heard me say this, but just like I tell my kids, it's the teamwork that makes the dream work. Mm-hmm. And our staff they're our village, they're our people. Mm-hmm. And if it weren't for them, we would be dead in the water.
Yeah, I would not know.
And they know how much we love and appreciate them because we tell them all the time.
And I think that it would be, if you're a client or a potential client, keep that in mind too. I know sometimes there will be people who want to bypass the staff and they think that, they don't know what they're talking about, but the staff is really the backbone of any law firm, know, and they know what's going on with your case, and we're all involved in it. But don't overlook those people and how much they know and how much they've learned too. I mean, Allison's been here longer than I have. I know I keep bringing her up.
Yeah.
But she's seen things that even I haven't seen before.
She's a G.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
She knows her stuff.
Yes, she does.
She does.
She looked at me one time and was like, no. And you know what I said? Yes, ma'am.
They keep us running. And so they definitely don't teach you that in law school,
Mm-hmm.
that you're, and I think it makes it a little scarier too, because you think, oh my gosh, I have to do all this by myself. But you're going to have a support team, and it really does take a team to be a lawyer. It's not just a one-man show.
I always tell new lawyers too, go buy cookies or cupcakes, and you go to the clerk of court's office.
Oh yeah.
And you introduce yourself to wherever county that you're practicing, and you tell them that you're a new baby lawyer, and that you're going to need help along the way, and if they would help you, that would be great, because there's nothing they love more than to help new lawyers. Mm-hmm. And to teach them the right way to do things. And they will help you if you tell them what you've got. If you don't have another lawyer to bounce it off of, say, I've got this, this kind of case. And they'll say, oh, there was a lawyer that had a case like that. I remember. And they'll find you that file. That way you can use it as a go-by to kind of get a lay of the land. And then you call that lawyer, and then you can kind of put it all together.
Love that.
The clerk of courts are kind of like legal staff at your office. I mean, they run the show. And so you just have to.
They're my people in life. Sometimes I go and lay in their floor and do snow angels. And
I think that
to this day, 15 years later, but they're my people. I love them so much.
And they don't teach you that in law school. That you obviously respect the judges and all that, but the court staff there they schedule. I mean, they can help you when you're lost and you just don't know where you're going and it's embarrassing. Yeah, you can walk in there and be like, "Help me," and I've done that. Yeah. So that's where you go for it.
I've had a white baby spit off like my suit. Yeah. Watch my baby. I had when Cash was born. I'd been practicing like 2 years and I didn't have a sitter, but I had to go to this, and I would go and sit him on their. He'd be asleep in his little car carrier because Justin would be in one court and I'd be in another, and teaming at the clerk of court. God bless her. In fact, every year I send her flowers just because she would watch my baby. For that 10 minutes, I'd run into a hearing, and then I'd run back out. And she's like, "Oh, he's still asleep. Don't you worry." Or I'd come in, and she'd be loving on him, and
great.
That's one thing that seems really different about the actual practice. Is like your first day of law school. You walk in the door, you're all like nervous, and then all of a sudden it's like you get hit, and it's like super adversarial, like right off the jump, and it's like, I'm competing against not only the 70 people or however many are in your section for the top grades, but you're competing against your entire like 1L, 2L, 3L class for your class rank and such for your job opportunities. But it's like when you get out and actually start practicing, like everyone's helping everybody out, and even like opposing counsel, like they're all, it's very like communicative, and it's people are trying to help each other. So that's definitely something I was not expecting when I think we all know that practice.
And I don't think that's like that just everywhere though. Mm-hmm. I think that South Carolina, it's a little different, especially in Horry County, Georgetown County.
When you're with Amy, everybody helps.
well, I think it's just, matter of fact, we were in New Orleans recently, and Justin and I talked at a conference, and one of the things that I talked about was that just be really good and kind to people and treat them with respect. It goes so far. People always want to help you when you're really good to people. And it just makes it a lot easier. And I think we're really lucky that in this county, particularly our little judicial circuit, everybody's so everybody's really helpful. Even in opposing counsel, it's like if someone called me and said, Amy, I really need to reschedule this mediation, my kid's sick. No problem, don't you worry.
Yeah.
Babies come first, or whatever that might look like for whatever.
Yeah,
Well,
it's definitely not as cutthroat once you get out of law school as they
Yeah.
make you feel it is. And I've got friends that practice in New York, and they're just like, would not even acknowledge opposing counsel if they walked, into each other in the grocery store. That's how hostile it is there.
Yeah.
We don't have that here.
believe it.
I hug every one of them, right?
Yeah, I see them, and I mean, it's all good. It's just
Well, not every one of them.
Most of them.
I think one of the things that we can do in South Carolina is, you leave it all in the courtroom. We're all advocating for our clients and doing our jobs, but when we leave, it's not personal, and it's not. We're at law school; it can feel very personal.
Feels very
sometimes.
personal.
Yeah, yeah. I was going to touch on what you were saying, Amy, because I was in those conferences in New Orleans, and the question that was kind of asked on this discussion panel of all of these, great lawyers that were doing good things in their areas, was just kind of like, what is the one thing that you kind of feel is really like detrimental to your firm and could really help? And it was kind of like all these business
SEO, website development,
marketing and technological answers, and then it gets to Amy, and Amy's like, I'm going to be a little different. But what she said was great, exactly what you said, as far as, be kind to people, help people. It goes a long way. That comes back to you. And then the whole room just like erupted in applause. And so, yeah, it's great. And I think that shows kind of your character and why you receive all that help.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think that lawyers sometimes forget this, and I'll probably come to your law school and give this speech because I give it to a lot of them, but somewhere along the way we forget in the practice of law why we do it, right? I got into being a lawyer and because I wanted to help people.
And I think if you read 90% of personal essays, we all wrote that.
That's what I wrote in mine. So.
Everybody wrote that in there.
And somewhere along the way, in the Socratic method and gunning, the gunner, there's always a gunner,
Not
gunning
me.
for or jockeying for a position in your law school class and trying to find your first job and do your first cases, that you somewhere along the way you lose sight of that. And if you kind of keep that at the heart of your practice, that you really just want to help people and do right by people and try to do the right thing, then the rest kind of follows. We talked about in that conference, at that talk, that panel, is that the biggest cases that have ever come through our office had nothing to do with SEO or Google AdWords or whatever you want to call it. It was, we were just really good and kind to people and talked to them like normal people.
When life gets ugly, justice is lovely, the lovely